Howdy folks, my name's Christian and welcome to Bullish on Farming. Today is September 5th and we're in our second week of being in this paddock. Girls are just due for a move in a couple days and they've done well in here. And the past 5 to 7 days we've had good moisture. So it seems like the ground is seamed up, it's cracking. Not seeing much of that anymore. And this is where they will be moving on their next rotation. Nothing to brag about, but let's see, this is probably, I think it's 70 days rest now. Sorry, it's 10 weeks, so whatever that is. And virtually no rain for 60 of those days. Okay, just been playing catch up now, and you're starting to see some of the green pop up. And this is a nice weed patch, obviously. But the pigs will chew that and eat it up and turn it into the soil and mulch it in, and that's a win. We're doing good work with our animals, moving them across landscape and increasing the fertility. So this will be another 14 days after we move them into that paddock. So a little bit better green cover, but it's also had less time to rest as of yet, and well, it's got another 14 days to go. I say that we'll get another at least 35 to 40% green coverage, at least in that 20 days, due to all of the moisture that we've been getting. And we still have warm weather, like 25 plus. This will be after that. Again, nothing to brag about. So you see areas like this here, we got a little bit of a wallow that's been dried out here now, and this is what we're avoiding in our paddocks. Okay, are we totally trying to prevent it at all costs? Not necessarily. On those dry days, I would make little mud baths in the areas for the girls, and they'd obviously go to town with it. For those of you who own pigs, you know that they're all over wet and dirt, mud. They love it. And that's their suntan lotion, and they like being bathed in it. They feel, I believe it's instinctually, it's an instinctual behavior, and they feel the benefits of it. And, well, that's just a wallow, but that's okay, because the pigs will keep coming through here and rooting, folks, and they almost level out the ground. This forest used to be way worse, punched up, because the cattle had it in the winter. And when you're having the mud thawing on you, the cattle's hoof, I mean, you're talking about a 1,500 pound animal. Okay, we run Angus, and they're punching it up back here. It's booby traps everywhere. But the pigs have done one full lap, and they're on their second lap in their second paddock right now. And this will be the 6th paddock. So they'll have plenty of time. Let's see, 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. They got another 8 weeks till they're back in here. And the reason why this one's growing in nicely is because there's obviously less tree coverage. So we're gonna be thinning out the trees in those back 4 paddocks. And these front 2 are pretty good, the way they stand. And we're not gonna go crazy, but we'll take out some trees and create some open areas in those that need it most. And, you know, this is an ongoing project. We'll evaluate year after year. And eventually it becomes that perfect paradise that you kind of had in mind. Okay, you don't have to get there overnight, although that would be great. You know, all the fun is in working with the animals and the land anyways. And you can see some of them are munching down on some of the produce I've brought for them. Stuff that didn't sell at market this week or wasn't as pretty. Today's a holiday, so not many people harvesting today. But usually I got about 4 times that, and it's great. Mentioned how much it's benefited us in our feed costs, and also offering the diversity in diet for our pigs. Okay, they have a more nutritionally rounded diet here than where you're gonna find them being raised conventionally, kind of just relying on corn or barley to fatten them up. Of course, that's how we fatten up these girls, they are on a fermented scratch grain, which I believe is corn, barley, and wheat. And we're organic here, folks. So our feed's organic, of course. And we run a hog grower, which I think is those two ingredients again with some soy oil. And hey girl, how's it going? You can see these girls are really comfy. They're all between 4 and 5 months. I think in the previous video I said 4.5 to 5.5. That's wrong. The oldest ones were born in early April. The others were born late April, early May. And these girls are looking good. I've noticed right after that 4-month mark, they start to get wider. You know, in those first 3 reaching that 4-month, their anatomy's growing, their skeleton's growing. You see their legs getting longer. And of course they're filling out. But you can see these girls, they're about a month behind. This girl. And she's a straight Berkshire, but she's really started to pack on the pounds. And we got about 3 of those type of girls. This one's included. And I'm a fan of these Berkshire pigs with what we are feeding them and how we're running them out here in the forest. They got a good coat, so you know they're not naked to the sun. For those of you who've ran pigs before, you know that they burn if you've tried to run them on pasture without shade. And that's why the forest's great. But also too, kind of the diet that we're giving them. Look, they're not going to fatten up as well as those conventionally modified breeds. This is a heritage breed. And well, this girl is a Tamworth Berkshire cross. And although we're happy with them, I've noticed they're a little leggier. And well, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I like the Berkshire and how they're growing out. And so that's some hay that's left over that's kind of become bedding. Brought out some flowers from the market garden. They just chew on the stems, but it's also just organic matter for the soil. And what do we got in here today? Well, we got squashes, lettuces, 4 different types of lettuces. And you know, there's things that we pick out, like onions. Try and keep the hot peppers out of there, but they kind of just pick around it anyways. Pigs are very smart, and they kind of test it out at the roof of their mouth before they shove it down. So, hey girl, what do you got me on? This girl, she's on my tail. What's going on? Very playful, very benign creatures, the way we raise them. We got 1 shipping off next week. And, you know, ideally we wanted to start sending pigs off at 6 months. That was our goal. Now growing out these girls, I can see how it's going to be more than that. A true finishing weight, I believe, to reach that 250, close to that, we'd have to push for, I think, like 8 months, 9 months. Now, that's not for certain. These girls are 5 months. And one's going a bit early, but we just have the way dates have worked out and having them booked, and the demand we have for pork. Hey, girl. We'll be sending it off. And there's something to be learned from there. And we'll evaluate. And, yeah, we'll definitely be having pigs going off at around 8 months anyways with how our dates are booked to go through the fall. And so you can see that's their grain mix there. And we ferment our grain because it actually expands the feed. We do a 3-day fermenting process, water in a bucket. It expands the grain kernels, and it actually starts to spawn the probiotics that are good for pig gut health. And I've been supplementing. Hey girl, these porky girls. I have been supplementing diatomaceous earth just as a proactive deworming measure, and I do drop oregano oil. I haven't done it in about 2 weeks, I'll be honest, but I was dropping some in their feed tubs and their waterer back there. And again, another proactive measure, and I'll probably do that again starting next week for another full water tub cycle in about You don't want to be doing it every day in their feed, and you don't want to be going overboard. It's just a few drops per bucket for me. Again, it's proactive. It's not like you're treating anything. You're just promoting a good gut health. And I think it's all in temperance. You can't be going overboard. And because we're organic, we like doing that because we don't want to get to the point where we have to treat our animals. We want to just proactively be giving them the best quality of life. And take care of things that way, really. Let nature be the healer. And why not when it does it so well? And so, yeah, I mean, we're extremely happy with these pigs. Still some months to go before we're fully done this year. But so far, so good. And this paddock system has worked out beautifully. Again, we'll be clearing out some trees, and I think that's really going to make a difference for us, getting more sun down to the ground level, getting more green. If you haven't seen my previous videos, when I was about a few months ago on our first lap, when we turned these pigs out to the paddocks, these sections, these paddocks were boosted with green up to my knee and dense. And you know, the pigs were smaller, so it was harder to gauge how much it was contributing to their feed. But I got to do another video talking about how much feed we've gone through with these girls, raising them the way we have. But I do have a very strong suspicion that between foraging in the soil and eating the grasses and the weeds, and what we're feeding them with the grain diet, plus our market produce, it'd be interesting to see the numbers, because I've raised pigs before, and although I wasn't really overseeing the cost of feed and on the back end that way, and I've seen more of that now at this farm, like I said, I feel like we're spending less on these pigs than most would be if they were just relying on grain or feeding these pigs from the feed store and not from their land. So, an interesting thing I'll probably focus on in another video. See the girls get into a little tussle here. They love playing around, and you love to see pigs play, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. All right, folks. Well, I think I'll cap it off here. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on the next one.